Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to do a video that I never thought would be possible for such a small and fairly unknown YouTuber by the standards of people like MatPat and Game Theory and all that. I'm basically just one guy with a super outdated Windows Movie Maker that just makes these kinds of videos for fun, and I just thought that's the way I'm always going to be because I'm pathetic at advertising. But then a little gem called Evergate dropped its way into an indie world showcase and proved that I am I am capable of making a big splash, not just in the Catholic industry, but also in the gaming one as well. And you probably guessed from the thumbnail of this video, or the title, I'm too excited I can hardly speak. This is unscripted, folks, because I am so happy right now. The composer of Evergate, he actually saw the video that I made about Evergate. I seriously did not think the team would actually be viewing my footage. I seriously thought that most of the questions I asked were rhetorical and they'd never get answered, because since when do big corporations ever listen to the fans? Like, if they listened to the fans, then maybe we would have had more than just a bunch of generic toads as most of the companions in Origami King. Anyway, gotta compose myself a little bit. Let me first make a disclaimer that I do not adjust my feedback if I know the person. I actually proofread my best friend's novel, and I did not pull any punches. I was still telling him, like, yeah, this part is super boring, and you better change this completely, or yeah, I completely zoned out at this point. Even though he's my best friend, I've known him all my life, probably longer than a lot of you have been alive, I was still willing to give him constructive feedback. So everything in this video that I say is my own genuine, raw opinions, and just because the composer wrote to me on YouTube does not change any of my statements whatsoever. Although I'm definitely going to be thinking that he's listening now, so I might get a little bit sheepish a couple of times. So basically, I was the first person on YouTube to make a review of Evergate, which really shocks me because unless if it's one of those super trashy Wii U games that somehow are still being made, I'm generally not the kind of guy that is the only one to make a review on YouTube. Usually places like IGN and GameSpot beat me to it, and then everyone will watch their videos and mine will get like 20 views or something. It's like, I worked so hard and I didn't get paid squat. And these guys are getting paid loads to write a review that a lot of the fans probably aren't even going to agree with. So, it's a job. I have a job too. What can you do? So, I don't want to quote his words right now because I really want to focus on the excitement, and I figure a lot of you wouldn't like the sound of my mouse key. But to paraphrase a little bit, he basically just really liked the feedback, and he sent me a link to I think it's a medley of a lot of the songs in the game. It was called Sweet from Evergate. I'm not 100% sure what that's supposed to mean. I'm not really an orchestra major. Just because I like orchestra music doesn't mean I know all the terms. Just saying. And after I listened to it, I realized, oh my gosh, how could I have made such a big blunder? The name of the YouTuber is M.R. Miller. And it turns out that M.R. Miller, and I double-checked this on Yahoo Search, just to make sure I wasn't getting my facts right, he was the composer of the game! I was speaking so casually to him, as if he was just another one of my countless subscribers that somehow spot my videos amongst the thousands of others that are way better edited than mine. And I was like, dude, I'm talking to someone in the gaming industry. Well, I guess industry is kind of a weird word for indies, but someone who's like actively involved in gaming scores. Like, how does that happen? I'm like a pretty small guy. Well, I guess I'm slightly above average height, but small as in I'm not really that well known amongst YouTubers. I'm mostly known in the Catholic world for like what I do for chaperoning and, my testimonies and stuff like that. To be recognized for gaming was just something I never thought would happen. I always thought, yeah, I'm just gonna review games and give my honest opinions, and if people don't like it, then I'll just do it as a hobby, because gaming reviews aren't for everyone. Some people are gonna say, yeah, you critics, you have your opinions, but because your opinions don't line up with mine, I'm therefore not gonna get it. Yeah, I used to be like that too, so I don't blame you if you still have that mentality. So the point I'm trying to make here isn't so much that I'm going to rate the game higher just because he reached out to me. However, one thing that I do want to stress is that I am going to be thinking much, much, much more highly about indie teams from this point onward. Because I'm going to be brutal with you guys, and I've probably said this in a live stream, but I'm not a huge fan of most indie games, and considering the track record on the Wii U, I don't think you can blame me. There's so much on the Switch eShop that it's really hard to, I guess, filter all the garbage from the true gems. And even though there are games out there that a lot of people praise, like, Celeste, for example, gets so much publicity. Undertale, oh my gosh, Undertale, I don't even have to tell you how much publicity that game gets. And yet, games like Evergate go almost completely under the radar. No one else talked about it, and the few people that did review this game actually copied reviews from other video game sites, probably because, I don't know, this game needed more reviews. I mean, if it helped the development team, I guess that's pretty cool, but I definitely think, guys, just play the game for yourself. If it's so good, you shouldn't have to rely on someone else's hard work if you want to celebrate it. I got off on a tangent. I'm sorry. This is unscripted. I'm excited. I can hardly contain my enthusiasm right now. I can barely even make this video, for that matter. Anyway, the composer responded to me, and I was able to directly respond with my critiques of the game, thinking he was just one other person. And it's just like, yeah, I like to talk further in depth about the games that I play to my subscribers so that they can realize I didn't just write a generic review for a paycheck, that I actually played the game and I'm paying attention to what they're saying. And just because I missed something in the review doesn't necessarily mean that I forgot about it altogether. It just means I was trying to keep it concise and not go on for 20 years like I did with some of my older reviews. Probably why people didn't like my Skyward Sword review, because it was so stupid long. And he actually said, yeah, he spoke in terms of us and we, and I was like, that's a weird statement to say. Is he like a media outlet? And he's the composer. Just wow. And then he said, yeah, I'll relay the feedback to the team. So this is the first time in history, with the possible exception of the Banjo DLC in Smash Brothers, when my feedback has actually been able to affect a game development. So if any of you pick up Evergate for yourselves, which I highly recommend you do, now that he clarified something about the artifacts, I'm actually going to adjust my score to be even higher than it was in the original review, and give this a 19 out of 20 if the team actually implements such a patch to make it easier to know what the artifacts do. Because now that I know that making the collectibles actually has a tangible effect on the game, that's cool. What does this have to do with meeting the composer? Well, just because he's the composer doesn't mean that he's completely oblivious to what the other team does, which, if you're actually in the work field, I guess that's kind of expected, but I guess I never really thought of video gaming as really much of a team effort until now. I always thought that each individual faction of the team was its own thing. Mahito Yokota in Super Mario Galaxy didn't really work on the level design, for instance, but apparently he talked with the rest of the team, and he was like, yeah, this was what our original team's intention was, and so let me clarify what was going through their heads, which is great because I ask a lot of questions like that all the time in my videos, what was the team thinking, what was going on here, and to actually get an answer was something I never thought would be possible. So I just want to thank M.R. Miller. I'm really glad you chose a silly little Catholic's videos of all things to comment on, and I definitely hope you all will subscribe to him. He only has 14 subscribers. I thought I was a small YouTuber. He has a video called Sweet from Evergate, parenthesis OST, where you get a little bit of a 9-minute sneak peek of the songs from the game. And honestly, he chose the best pieces in the game. So I really hope that when the official soundtrack comes, he saves a couple of the more low-key pieces, because I know not everyone wants the big bombastic orchestras like I do, but I can appreciate soft orchestras every now and then. So, I think perhaps the biggest takeaway that I can get from this, besides the fact that a small YouTuber can actually get feedback on his videos and not have to pay for anything like sponsorships or any of that terrible stuff, But the fact that I lost my train of thought because I'm so happy. I totally lost my train of thought. I'm just so grateful that my video could be discovered like that. And it makes me have hope. Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. So, a lot of times I really want to show off the music before anything else when I'm making a review. But because I have sensitive ears, it's really hard for me to tell how loud my voice volume is in comparison with how loud the music is. And I try really hard to make sure that the music is loud enough where you can hear that over the sounds of the game. And if the game gives me an option to be able to mute the sound entirely so that you can hear the music. Because for me, I've actually bought games based on the soundtrack alone. Well, in the case of Dragon Quest XI, I rented it. Music is a selling/renting point, guys. Do not underestimate its power. Probably why the definitive edition of Dragon Quest XI sold so well was because it had an orchestral soundtrack. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons I bought this. I went on the eShop, I looked at the description, and I said, it has a full orchestra? Dude, I'm getting it. And I didn't even care that it wasn't on sale. I was like, I'm paying $20 for a full orchestra? You kidding me? And so the fact that he would not only send me a link in my own video reviewing the game where I talked about his music, but also like just talk like a normal human being was mind-blowing. And it just makes me happy for the future of gaming music videos, because I really do want you folks to like hear the soundtracks of these games that I review for yourselves. And now that I know that like this can get the guy some more publicity, guys, you really, really need to check out the soundtrack once it's available. And if you can't check out the soundtrack, then I hope you'll check out the game. And if you can't check out the game, then maybe, I don't know, check out his channel. His name is M.R. Miller. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll leave a link to the original video so you can see his comments for yourself and give your own feedback. And I don't want this to come across as overt fanboyism or celebrity, I don't know. You know how most people get like super flustered when they're around a celebrity? I try not to be like that. It's more so of the fact that this is such an unprecedented situation. Again, something that people like MatPat or Arlo would have happen to them, but a silly little guy who's inside a makeshift garage who has the fan blowing in the background, so you guys probably hear a whole bunch of ing during this video, can get recognized by a gaming company. It just blows my mind. And I'd like to end this off with a little bit of a message of hope for the rest of you. That you too can be recognized for your small efforts, even if you don't think it at first. When I first started this channel back in 2013, I had like 2 subscribers. Now I have 425. And I never thought I would even get to 100. So it goes to show you that you just have to work hard, put your heart into it, not literally. Let's not get into Evil Queen levels of terror. You can do something great. I'm sure Mr. Miller started out as a pretty humble composer. Actually, I think he did, according to my Yahoo search. He wrote the motif of the main game's melody, you'll know what I mean when you hear it, as a music box melody for his daughter as a lullaby. And then he decided, let's incorporate this as the main melody for the game. And honestly, oh my gosh, that was an amazing decision. I really love music that's born from passion from family members, especially as a musician myself. I've written a few songs in honor of my family, even though that particular one I deleted from YouTube because it was so bad. Anyway, Mr. Miller, if you're watching this, I hope I have not been rambling too much, but I am just so thankful that you have given me hope that someone of my standing could get somewhere in YouTube. Besides just in the fields of stuff like youth ministry, which may actually be grinding to a halt pretty soon due to COVID, and that I can, make connections through other mediums as well. And so I just, if you work on any other games, I do hope you will let me know somehow. I do have a Twitter account. It's called CatholicNin1. It was supposed to be Catholic Nintendo Nerd, but apparently that didn't fit. So I would really love it if I could, follow you and know what other kinds of projects you work on, especially if they're orchestras, because like I said, I'm not just gonna blindly support you just because you went on my video, just as I wasn't gonna necessarily buy my best friend's book just because he wrote it. I want to support you because you show genuine care. You show genuine, like, yeah, I'm just an average Joe. And your music is amazing. This is an amazing soundtrack. I said this to him already in his own video. I'm going to say it again to make sure that all of my viewers know where I stand. I want this music to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I know that's not the easiest thing in the world for indie companies to do, but I really, really, really hope that the team can try. I really hope you can make a pitch to Masahiro Sakurai and be like, guys, we really want this game to be in Smash Brothers. Toby Fox did it for Undertale. The creators of Cuphead did it. And, man, Mr. Miller, you really ought to compose the soundtracks to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because this kind of music is the music I've wanted in Smash Bros. From the beginning. And honestly, I might have to say this is better than most of the remixes in Smash Bros., although I still have a thing for Lifelight, but that's mainly just because the lyrics are so incredibly Catholic. But I'm sure you could do lyrical music if you tried, and if so, I would be really interested to hear how you would incorporate them into a game or other piece of media. So with that, I apologize to any of you if you thought I was going on too long, if it sounds like I'm a broken record repeating myself, but I really like doing these kinds of unscripted excitements way more than my semi-unscripted reviews where I go by whatever is in my head and then try to formulate it into a sentence. So let me know if you want any more unscripted excitement types of videos. I made one for Xenoblade Chronicles, assuming it's not already uploaded by the time you view this. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and don't give up hope if you're a small YouTuber that's trying to make it. It may take years like it did for me, but it will happen if you just keep putting your heart into it. Bye for now.